We're going to go live to the White House right now for the press briefing. Karine Jean-Pierre there at the podium.
That is something that the president is going to continue to do. And this is why we have said, and I have said this multiple times from here, is that's why the president acknowledges. We get it. We get what Americans are feeling. That's why he's acknowledging. He's not a young man. That's why he's acknowledging. He's a little slower than he used to be in walking and not as smooth as speaking. We get that. But we also want to make sure that we point to the successes that he's had, his record, and we want to continue to build on his unprecedented record. And I'm not going to discount what the American people see or feel. What I can say is what we know from our side of things. We could speak to his record, and we could speak to what the president has been able to acknowledge. And I think that's important too. And that's basically acknowledging what Americans are seeing and feeling.
Well, if you get it, why not release more about his medical, his physical and mental health? Why not?
What we have released has been very comprehensive. It has been. It has been transparent. And if you compare it, right, it has. We have put that out there. And, and we'll continue to do so, put that information out there. And MJ, I want to be very clear. I get the question that you're asking me. But this is also a president who has had a historic administration. He has, in delivering on legislation, key policies. That is because with age comes wisdom and comes experience. And I think that matters as well.
Did Dr. O'Connor watch the debate?
I believe Dr. O'Connor traveled with us to the debate.
So did he have any concerns after seeing the president's
not
debate
at all.
before? I have one more question actually, Karine.
Sure.
The campaign's theory of the case from the president staying in the race has been that the president has a better shot of defeating Donald Trump than any other Democrat. We have a new CNN poll that shows the vice president actually has a slightly stronger showing against Donald Trump than the president. So how does the president explain not passing the baton to his own 59-year-old vice president given that kind of data?
So look, as you know, I'm constrained to speaking directly to your poll, and I get it, and I hear the question. I got to be mindful. That is something for the campaign, as you started saying, what the campaign has laid out, their argument of the case. That is something for them to take up, and that is something for them to answer. What I can speak to is the president's record, what I can speak to, what he's been able to accomplish, and the things that he's been able to do and get done is actually in line with majority of Americans, and I think that's important too, to note. And again, I will say, with age comes wisdom and experience, and that's certainly something that the president brings. Go ahead.
Karine, we've seen some real anger expressed by donors and Democratic officials, sort of how you guys have handled the president, shielding him away from impromptu settings and denying, until last week that there had really been any age-related slippage. So I'm wondering if you guys have had a moment to reflect on that strategy, any regret over it, and if, what you would say to folks who think it's arrogant for there not to be either changes towards that strategy or with some of the personnel that are around the president.
And you're talking about the strategy specifically about who's around the president? Is that what you're...
I think it's two parts,
yeah.
Right? One is a kind of small, concentrated group of aides that have been with the president for a very long time, and the other is sort of systematic decisions to shield the president from the impromptu moments that we've seen in previous administrations, whether it's press conferences or interviews or, just being out in public more frequently.
I mean, look, a couple things there too. This year, the president has done more than 40 interviews. And unscripted, right? Those interviews are unscripted. He has done more than 500 gaggles, right? Of course, unscripted, talking directly to many of you. No, let me just finish. And so he enjoys doing that. He enjoys engaging with all of you. And we're going to continue making sure that happens. I will say this. Obviously, this is a president that was a senator for 36 years. He was a vice president, as you all know. I'm just repeating things that you all know, for 8 years. And so he has long time, advisors that have been here with him for a long time. I don't think that's unusual. He also has people who are new to the administration that also advise him. Look, I've been in meetings with the president where it's been a diverse group of people, and he sees us, and he knows the reason why we're sitting in front of him is that we have something to share. and he wants to hear from all of us. I've heard him say, "Hey, what do you think? What do you think?" And so my experience has been that world is indeed open, and that he does get to hear from a diverse group of people. That has been my experience. But it is not unusual for someone who has been around for that long of time to have a group of people that's been around him for a minute, right? And I think that makes sense. There's nothing about that is nonsensical. That actually makes sense. And we're going to continue to get him out in front of all of you to take your questions at a steady drumbeat.